Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hopping on, and Merry stinking Christmas to everybody out there. It is time for Jeremy's Pedal Power Hour. I'm super pumped about the special holiday edition of Jeremy's Pedal Power Hour. You can see there I have a Christmas tree with presents there specifically just for you all so you can get the holiday spirit. It's amazing. I love it. It took forever for me to figure out how to do that. It's awesome. So, yes, this is Jeremy's Pedal Power Hour. We're getting people logging on, and thanks, guys, for coming on to the live stream. The way this works is every so often I have someone on from the mountain biking industry, either a professional rider, a YouTuber, a industry leader in the sport. And this week, I have a special person who is filling two of those categories, has a wonderful YouTube channel, and is a pro rider. I froze for a second there. I'm sorry. I have Mr. Eric Porter. How you doing, sir? Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you being on this holiday time. I know you have kids, and I know they're probably off on Christmas break. Are you guys on Christmas break right now?
Yeah, they're on Christmas break, but honestly, there's not too much difference because they've been homeschooling this year anyway.
Oh, there
since
you go.
March.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're all still stuck at home anyway for the most part.
That's awesome.
Um,
My kids just got off school this week, so they're all home all day, every day, and it's wonderful. I'm enjoying it. Well, the way this works, everybody, you get some questions out. I want you to run this show. I want you to ask the questions. It's not a normal podcast. It is a different one where you guys type in the chat down there below and ask some questions that you want Mr. Porter to answer. And we'll get to that as much as possible. I'm hearing Eric needs more volume, very low. Let's see if I can increase his volume. Are you able to do yours up a little
I'm not
bit?
sure if I have control over the mic volume, but
Let me see if I can boost you a little bit there. You let us know if that works, y'all. So yeah, started off. You recently, you're a pro rider, but you have a YouTube channel that recently just hit 100,000 subscribers. How long ago did you hit that? I see the little YouTube thing up in the back. You kind of recently hit that, didn't you?
Yeah, that thing's crazy. I did not see that coming this year. That was so that's the silver YouTube plaque, and that was, my kind of pie in the sky big goal for the end of the year to try and hit 100,000 subscribers, just to kind of keep you motivated, and working hard. And yeah, it was I think in November sometime. It's kind of been a blur because I haven't stopped running full steam. Yeah, just keep the gas down.
I want to boost you a little bit more. People are still saying you're low. I got you. Well, that's awesome. Well, congratulations on getting that. And you just recently got a new, I don't know how recently for everybody. We just found out you're with Cognitive MTB. I had the owner on about a month ago, and awesome company. You're now with Cognitive MTB, aren't you?
Well, they're doing the merchandise for the YouTube channel. So
Okay.
like this hoodie and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not riding for them for clothes.
Okay.
But it's a good partnership.
Okay.
I ride for Plaque for everything else. So for all my mountain bike clothes, helmets and pads and glasses and everything. But Plaque isn't set up to do merchandise for a YouTube channel. That's not what they're in business for. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and Austin does all the merch for Seth's channel as well for Burn Peak, and it's just a really good fit. And we were actually out there on the road trip as well in North Carolina, so I got to go to the shop and meet him, and we could look at everything we were going to do and make, and
that's awesome.
Try it on and make sure it's how we wanted it.
I know. I love their gloves and the one jersey I have of theirs. It's pretty good company, but that's awesome. Yeah. So start off. Tell everybody who might not know who Eric Porter is, where you started and where it's taken you.
Yeah. So I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and Yeah, just started mountain biking when I was 12. I got my first kind of big kid bike from a BMX at a Kmart, and there were just happened to be trails by my house that we could go ride to.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend Mark and I would just go mountain biking every day before we even knew what it was. We just wanted to go ride our bikes and explore.
Yeah.
And then I just kept following that basically. I never felt like I was too much better than anybody else, but I just kept doing it, I suppose. So my first job was at a bike shop, and my whole life has been based around riding the whole time. So it went from, cross country to in college, I was racing in the Midwest Collegiate College Circuit, which introduced me to dual slalom and downhill, and through that dirt jumping and trials riding. And so I've been doing kind of all the types of riding my whole life too, which has been really cool. And it's fun having that diverse background of what, I haven't been just a cross country guy or a downhill guy or a dirt jump guy. I've always done a bit of everything.
Yeah.
And then after college, I chased the racing circuit, tried to make it as a pro downhill racer, but found out that I wasn't fast enough. And part of that was because I was just dirt jumping in between all the races.
Yeah.
So with Aaron Chase and Kyle Levitt and Jeff Lenoski, when we all should have been training, we were going to every dirt jump spot, skate park, and street riding all week long, and then get to the race and try to go fast. But it was really the midweeks that were the best part of that. And so through, chain reaction video series with Don Hampton and the stuff that Chase and Lenoski and those guys were all doing, ended up with the job doing that. And luckily also that was the first year of the Crankwork slope style, which was called Joyride then, and now they call it Joyride again, but it's the Greater Festival is now called Crankworks. But first one of those was in 2003 and did really well there, and then was on the podium for all of the contests for the rest of that year. And so with that mixed with video stuff and magazine stuff, 2003 was my first year riding bikes for a living, and been doing it since then.
That's awesome. Yeah. We'll get to the first question with that. That kind of matches up to that. How'd you know that mountain biking, so when did you, I'm going to say when did you know that mountain biking was going to be like your path through life, your living? When did you find that out? When did you figure out that was what it was going to be?
It's funny. It was actually a lot later than you would think.
Yeah.
So in high school, I discovered snowboarding at a really small ski resort in Indiana, Paoli Peaks. And so I was competing in big air contests and racing border cross, and I loved snowboarding more than anything else in the world. And so what I wanted to do was move out to Colorado and go snowboard and go to college out there and try to make it as a pro snowboarder though.
Yeah.
And it's really expensive to go to school in Colorado out of state. And so instead of going into debt to do that, I decided it would make more sense to go to school in Kentucky, push those snowboarding dreams back, and then just get school out of the way and then pursue whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so it kind of happened naturally. I couldn't snowboard all the time. I put everything into it still. I was driving 8 hours to Snowshoe, and I was driving every weekend. I would drive from Bowling Green, Kentucky, where I went to school in Western Kentucky University. I think it was 2.5 hours or so up to Paoli. And I would sleep in my car at a 300-foot ski resort in Indiana because I loved it so much. Just,
wow.
Doing as much as I could. But then through collegiate racing, I actually found out that I was, probably better at bikes than snowboarding. By my last year, I ended up winning collegiate national championships in our division. And that kind of, at the same time, I was, racing in semi-pro in the Norbas, and, like I said, I had gotten better at bikes than I was at snowboarding. So that's when I moved to Durango after college with the goal of just trying to make it as a bike rider.
That's awesome. Now you've really, you've in the MTB world, your backyard it's still there. That's where you live now. That whole, the Porter, what do you call it? The Porter Bike Park is.
Yeah, I guess we don't have a good enough name for it, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's got, Seth's got Burn Peak, and
Yeah.
we need to have like some sort of cool name for it, but hasn't hasn't shaken out yet. But either way, it's
It's the
incredible.
dream of everybody who's into mountain biking to have what you have off of your back deck. That's just insane. That's where I think that's probably where I found you, was one of those videos when I first got into mountain biking, you launching through the air in your backyard. I was like, I want that, but I have a small backyard, so I can't do that. That's awesome. Let's see the
Oh, that's cool.
next question. Let's see. From Lutz Time, question for Porter. You were the innovator of grinding rails without pegs on a mountain bike. Throughout the years, which rail was your most memorable?
Yeah, so that'd be that's Aaron Lutzy actually. So he's actually a longtime friend of mine and used to be a pro trials rider and super awesome guy. He's actually a Red Bull team manager now.
Uh-huh.
And so he started his own YouTube channel as well, which is definitely check that out, Lutzy Time. He's doing all kinds of stuff.
Oh, Lutzy is okay. Awesome.
Yeah, yep. So he's all kinds of cool trial stuff and running stuff, bit of everything. It's awesome. And he actually, another side note before I answer his question,
Yeah.
he had this thing called Match Video Zine, which was basically would have been the biggest thing ever on YouTube if it was happening now.
Yeah.
It was on DVDs in the mid 2000s, and it was, I don't know if are you a BMX fan?
I used to be, but it was dirt. I was more into dirt, so never did it.
Are you familiar with? Do you remember the props video zines they had though?
It sounds familiar. I mean,
anyway,
yeah.
So it was he would document contests and do like filming trips, places, street riding, and really documenting that side of things. And so that was super cool. And now he's kind of needs a creative outlet again. So he's doing this.
That's awesome.
But yeah, the most memorable rails. Well, I'll start with the first rail I ever did was in Pennsylvania, and it was a rail that Van Homan did in Criminal Mischief, and he ice picked it, just a long flat bar, not too steep.
Yeah.
And that was my first street rail, and it was kind of like it worked first time, and it was like, whoa, it worked, And so then I progressed and stepped it up from there. And then the last rail that, I think the last street rail I ever did, maybe I'll do another one someday, but the last one I did was in Malaga, Spain on a trip with Aaron. And it was 20 stairs. It was steep, and it was a full drop off on the left side. So the stairs are on the right side of the rail, and it's a 2-story drop off on the left side. And so when you hop on that rail, if you fell over the other side, you'd be falling that full 20 steps worth straight to the ground. And then we're in Spain, so it's like not my hospitals and whatever else.
See, this is why I never got into it. This is why I never did. I watched it, but I didn't get into it.
Yeah, and so for everyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about either, because it doesn't make any sense right now, really, so BMX riders grind handrails on the pegs that are on their axles, right?
Yeah.
And so what I was doing was grinding rails on my mountain bike without pegs, just on my dropouts, which are, like an inch.
Yeah.
So no margin for error there. Like you got to get right on in the right spot, and then your balance point's tiny. Somehow I figured out how to do that, and that was a big part of what helped create my career. Because it set me apart from everybody else. And so when I figured it out, it was before disc brakes were on every bike. And so it was V brakes, and there's no rotor there. So you can get on your dropout, and then all the way, you have a little bit more space there.
Yeah.
At this point, when I did this rail, I think it was 2009 or 10, and I think 10, 9 or 10 either way. 2010, I believe. So I had disc brakes on my bike. So I had to take my rotors off. So I was brakeless as well. Because if I had my rotors on, they would have hung up on the rail, and I wouldn't have been able to lock in like I needed to. So it was brakeless as well. And I did it twice. The first time, first time I committed like 95%, but I just didn't want to go over, so I had to hop off the end of the rail and ride down the last couple steps. And then second time I went up and slid the whole thing. So
See,
yeah,
I
that
wanted
was
to. I got onto magazines. I was watching, reading magazines and picking out the bikes I wanted. But a child of the '90s, my mom was enough of me hurting myself, so she's like, "No, you can't, no BMX, no BMX."
yeah.
So
I'll
I was
actually go back to finish that real quick too. The reason that I ended up doing it on my mountain bike without pegs was my very first rail was on a BMX bike,
uh-huh.
and I tried to hop onto that rail, and my back peg hung up on the vertical upright of the handrail,
Yeah.
which then just stopped me.
Ooh.
And so it threw me over the bars and knocked out my teeth, knocked me out. And so, as far as giving your parents grief, I showed up at, I don't know, you go street riding in the middle of the night because there's no security guards, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I showed up with a handful of teeth
Oh,
in my
jeez, dude.
parents' kitchen. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's
Classic.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I never held my teeth in my hands. I do got a gap in my teeth. I don't know. You could put a tooth in there, but no, never lost a tooth doing that. That's nuts, dude. Well, that's awesome.
I don't recommend it.
I wouldn't. I'll take your word for it. I'm gonna stick away from pegs. That's crazy. What? I mean, what was it that? So wrecking, doing that on the back peg. That was what caused you to decide, hey, I'm gonna do it on a mountain bike, or were you just like, let's try it on a mountain bike?
No, I had this odd fascination with handrails. I thought that was like the pinnacle of any of the, however you want to call them, action sports. Skateboarding, snowboarding, and BMX. The stuff that those guys in those sports have done on rails is mind blowing. Like the consequences are so high if you mess up because you're on street with metal and concrete.
Mm-hmm.
There's no easy way out. It takes 100% commitment. And yeah, as a fan of I grew up skateboarding too. So as a fan of skateboarding, snowboarding, and BMX,
Yeah.
rails are like the gnarliest thing, the coolest thing you could do. And yeah, again, nobody was doing them on mountain bikes. Trials riders at that point with Lenoski and Ryan Leach, actually, those two stick out in my mind as the seeing them like go back wheel, like rail to rail and riding down rails and that sort of thing. That was the extent of what was being done on rails on mountain bikes. And so I wanted to take that the next step further and do
That's
what
crazy.
we were seeing on BMX bikes, but on my bike.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was what do I always call it? A fruit booter. I was an aggressive
Oh, yeah,
inliner back in the '90s and early 2000s. No, not anymore. Sold those things.
No, I had good friends doing that too, and they did even like crazier, bigger rails.
Oh yeah, and it's still going on. People are still doing
Yeah.
stuff like that, and it's crazy. Let's see, Run Bike Mike, and I wanted to get to this too because this kind of separates you on your YouTube channel. Let's see, what are you running at now? You're at 116,000, so you're kicking butt up there. So one thing I love about your channel is your family. You really boost your kids, pumping out there on their bikes and hitting the same things that I would be scared and poop myself just looking at. Let's see, where was the question? Do you think, Run Bike Mike is asking, do you think your kids will go in the direction of pro level biking like you have?
Hey, Mike, great question. Thanks for asking. I have no idea. They say they do right now. And they see the inside world of what it's like to be a pro rider. And that's the only reality they've known for what dad does for work.
Mm-hmm.
They see the high points of it and the cool stuff I get to do. And they also see the me staying up all night editing, or, before I was doing YouTube as much as I was, even, traveling all the time and the hard work that goes into it. So if they do want to go that route, I'm there to support them. If they don't, I'll probably have a lower insurance bill, and I'd hate to see them, getting hurt and that sort of thing too. I'm always extra cautious with them. And there's I mean, there's so much that I cut out from the Burn Peak video. I talked about safety a lot in there. But there's even more that I cut out where we're talking through stuff, and it just doesn't fit into a 16-minute video. But yeah, I don't want to see him get hurt. But at the same time, being a professional athlete brings you life experiences that you just can't get any other way. It's pretty crazy. The stuff I've been able to do because of what I've done as an athlete. So yeah, again, I just want to support them in what they love, and I've never even pushed them into these sports that we do. You know, they've played hockey and baseball and soccer and all kinds of other sports too. Just I want to expose them to everything. They both play music quite a bit, and
Good.
so I just want to be a supportive parent and back whatever they do. I've seen so many times when kids are pushed really hard in a certain direction when they're really young. Most of the time, they're burned out by the time they're a teenager because they've missed out on other life experiences, and they've missed out on, you know, whatever else. And so anyway, I couldn't be more proud if they did do that, but I will be just as proud no matter what they end up doing. The main thing is I'm just trying to teach them to work hard at what they care about. Just let them know that you don't have to do a job that you don't want to do when you grow up. You can create a career doing whatever you're passionate about. You know, my video 2 weeks ago from visiting Louisville, I wanted to kind of share that with the rest of the world too, visiting two of my friends that are artists now and have great careers with their own studios, producing their own art. And so I wanted to show the kids that too, that, hey, you can create a life around whatever it is you care about. So, yeah, long answer, I guess, but
no, it got deep there. That's cool. I like that.
yeah.
You see, that's why I like you. You're a family man. You're a dad, and I'm a dad, and it just kind of connects. And watching my daughter go out and mountain bike and then hurt herself, it's something. It's scary, but it's super awesome when you see that smile on their face, and you're so proud. It's awesome. I love it. Let's move on. I've seen your videos exploring the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Any plans of returning?
I would love to go back to the UP. That trip with Free Hub was incredible. We were there for 10 days. It wasn't enough time, but we got to ride a lot of awesome spots, and I would love to go back. I don't know. I mean, as we all know, everything's up in the air right now, and it's really hard to plan any travel, but I would love to get back there. So hopefully in the coming years, I'll get back up there.
Awesome. You've been down here in Florida, haven't you, before?
Only on vacation. Never for riding bikes, but growing up, I spent some time in Florida with my family. Yeah. But it's been on my list forever. All kinds of friends have spent a bunch of time down there and had a blast. So I would love to get down there to ride.
Every YouTuber has gone down to Santos and ridden down there. So
yeah,
it's got to be on your list there. Let's see. This is another question I actually wanted to ask. This right behind you is kind of a famous, famous to me. I've watched the video like 50 times. You built this bike bench out of real wood and logs and boards. You and Seth made that, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Is that the cleanest? Is it always that clean, or is it? Did you clean it just for me?
I try to keep it clean. Honestly, after Seth was here, it's been a lot easier to keep it clean because I have places to put things now.
Yeah.
Obviously, it comes and goes. Like when you're doing a whole bunch of activities, the whole garage blows up because every activity, we go skiing, snowboarding, bike riding, whatever we're doing, it's in rapid succession, and then there's a pile of stuff on the floor.
Yeah.
And because it's, you have kids, so you know, like as soon as you get home from the activity, you don't have an hour to put everything away in the
No.
perfect place. Like you got to feed those little humans.
Yes.
You got to get them in the shower, get them ready for bed, everything
Yep.
else, and so it comes and goes. But I've
The
been,
smell. The smell is what gets me. I
yeah, right.
have, but they're three girls. So like my twins are 5 and my oldest is 9, and they smell. We go out and run and go biking or something like that, and the smell is what gets me. I can't smell myself, so it must be bad. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's what hits me.
yeah. So it's generally stayed a lot cleaner than it used to before Seth helped with the organization, though.
That's
So
awesome. How
yeah, big
long
thanks to Seth for that.
have you changed anything on it, or is it all pretty much the same thing over there? I'm trying to
Nothing.
look
It's
at
all
it.
the same. You know, as soon as when that plaque came in, I thought that would be the best place for it. I don't have like a, I don't know, my office doesn't suit it well, so I thought, you know, get it up there on the workbench where it's kind of like a thank you to everybody that does support it too, you know.
So
Um,
with your channel, what got you deciding to? I mean, you've done all these things with biking through your life and hit milestones and became people started knowing who you are through your biking. What got you into deciding to start a YouTube channel? Because I remember when you started your channel. What got you into deciding? Hey, I want to start editing. I want to start doing this and build this.
it was a couple things. So through my whole career, every project that I want to do, every video I want to do, is either a sponsor or production company coming to me with an idea,
Mm-hmm.
and we work together on making it happen. And then we got a filmer, we've got a photographer, and there's a whole production built around it. And so part of it is the self-sufficiency of it. You know, when I come up with an idea, now I can make a video about it, you know. So it's, and then even with when the video comes out, it's, a lot of people don't know the back end process of everything that goes around a video launch. But if you create a video with one of your sponsors and you want it to get views, it has to be shared on a bunch of different websites from mountain bike media, so Pink Bike and Free Hub and Bike Mag and everything else. And it's it gets tricky because people want exclusive
Mm-hmm.
releases with it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always stuff going on, and it's just nice. It's so awesome with YouTube that I can come up with an idea, film it, edit it, put it out, and it's, I don't have to talk to anybody, you know. I can just get ideas from my head onto the screen and share it with everybody, which is awesome, because there's a lot of stuff that kind of slips through the cracks too that doesn't make it to being
Mm-hmm.
a bigger production.
Yeah.
And then the other part of that is, there's a couple more parts. You know, my job as a professional athlete is to connect with mountain bikers, and that's a constantly evolving task, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when I started out, it was, there's a few video production companies that would put out one DVD a year or every 2 years, you know, and you'd be a part of
Yeah.
one, you know, a couple of those projects. And then there were print magazines, and that was it. Then the internet came around, and you had to do stuff for web videos, you had to do stuff for magazines, and then social media comes in, and we're doing stuff for that. And now YouTube is the place to put content out. And so when Seth was brought on to the Diamondback team, I think he had like 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. So that sounds crazy for anybody that's, you know, started following Seth recently. And he's got well over 2 million subscribers now
Yeah. Yeah.
on his main channel, like over 2.5 million between both channels. And so watching his growth and becoming really close with him, he kept saying, you got to start a YouTube channel. You got to start a YouTube channel. And finally, you know, it took me a while to figure out what it would be, how I would communicate with everybody out there through YouTube, and kind of what type of videos and how I would do it. And so it took me a while to wrap my head around what I wanted to do with it. And kind of finally, about this time last year, last fall was when I really started making videos for the channel. And then again, in March this year, ramped it up, and I've done either weekly or bi-weekly videos since March of this year.
That's
That's
awesome.
when I've really kind of poured everything into it. So to sum it up, it's the coolest way to interact with everybody out there that loves mountain bikes and that's into what I'm doing.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's an amazing platform where we can share our emotions and be real, and people can meet us and see us. That's awesome. Do you see where do you see your channel going here in the future?
I think what I'm gonna do is keep doing more of the same. You know, a lot of channels try to stay really in one lane, and like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
I've always been someone it's not that I get bored, but I like to do a lot of different things. So I'll ride a road bike one day and dirt jump the next day and do backflips, and then the next day I'll ride downhill or build something, or and then I snowboard a bunch and snowmobile and do stuff in the winter as well.
Yeah.
And fishing. So I'm going to keep showing what I do across kind of all the different types of things I do. So this winter we'll have some winter videos. We'll, when we have enough snow, we're going to do a video in the backyard, snowboarding and skiing, and, seeing what we can do on the jumps on snow. And we'll go up in the backcountry and maybe build a jump back there. I don't know. So we're going to do a lot of stuff like that. And then in the spring, we'll go back to build stuff and building stuff in the yard and tuning up jumps and fixing the pump track, riding that. And
that's awesome.
A bit of everything, really. And travel stuff too. It's, again, this year nobody traveled, and the safest way we could figure out to do it was rent an RV and literally not see, anybody from one place to another, and then set up shop for a few, move to the next place. And it was kind of the safest way we could travel during these current times.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens next summer, but I would expect, if I can tell you what to expect this winter, look for some snow stuff on the channel.
Yeah.
And then spring through fall, it'll be mountain biking and playing in the mountains in the backyard, building stuff. And some of it's going to be with the kids for sure, because they're having a blast, and it's just really fun to do stuff with them and interact with them this way.
That's awesome.
And then, whenever they don't feel like being in the videos, I'll be doing stuff with other friends or by myself. So kind of generally what we've been doing, but just more and better and different.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember the one video where you took your gravel bike up. I don't remember where you were going. You took your gravel bike up, then you hiked up with
Split board.
Split board, yes. Up to the top, and then skied. You skied down, right? Yeah, you skied down.
Oh, yeah.
You skied down, then hopped back on your bike and got some amazing high-speed footage of you going down the mountain on your gravel bike. That was the best of both worlds of everything. That's awesome. Have you ever snowboarded off your dirt jumps in your backyard?
I have.
Yeah.
So we not enough though. Generally, when there's enough snow in the yard, it's really good up on the mountain. So I just spend the time up there. But yeah, I definitely want to do that more. It's really hard to get. It's really hard to get enough speed.
Yeah.
Tires on dirt roll faster than skis or board on snow. But
yeah,
I definitely want to see what we can do.
Yeah.
I've dropped in on it before though, on the ramp.
What did you clear it? Were you able to clear the jump, or?
No, I didn't try to though.
You didn't try to? Oh, okay.
I used the lip like a quarter pipe and just played around on that for a minute. But I honestly haven't put much time in, so I'm really curious to actually get some sessions on it. And now the kids are at a pretty high level on skis, and Owen's skiing and Milo's snowboarding.
Yeah.
And so to be able to session it with them and see what they can get through too. And now we've got Milo's line too, so it's like a better size line for something like that too.
That's awesome. Well, we got some more questions. YouTube nerd question. Run Bike Mike is asking, what cameras do you use?
Yeah, so I'm using Panasonic G85. That's my primary camera,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got a shotgun mic on that. Um, and then I use GoPro 9 for POV stuff, as well as something I keep in the pocket. That's kind of always with you and really high quality. And then I've got a RX 100 that I travel with too for that's got the like 30 to 200 lens. So I've got a long lens that shoots really high quality 4K. I know, and the screen flips up too. I know a lot of
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
YouTubers use that.
yeah.
And then I've got a I guess it's not new anymore, but the 11 Pro iPhone,
Okay,
and
yeah.
I've been using that too because again, it's always with you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really good quality.
Yeah, I do a lot of my talking videos on my phone. I don't have a,
Yeah,
I'm not an iPhone user, and a couple of these guys in these posts will make fun of me. I'm an Android user, but it's okay. No, nobody's perfect. Android is though. Um, let's see. The next question. I wanted to ask, does Mrs. Porter complain about jumps in the backyard? Yeah. What does Mrs. Porter say about all this?
yeah. So she's we've been together since before any of this took off. We met
Yeah.
in Durango I was when I moved to Durango. I was living in a minivan with the seats ripped out of the back and a thermarest and a sleeping bag,
Yeah.
and uh, and then we ended up living together, and we lived at we were more chasing the snow stuff almost because she's a big skier. She's from Alaska, and so she's been totally supportive. She's seen it from before it was anything to through the length of my career. And actually, our first house, going back to you saying you don't have a yard and this and that, I've totally thought the same thing. So we bought our first house, had a small yard that I had to kind of settle for. Okay, I'm not going to get to live the dream and have the backyard riding set up, but it's going to be easy, and I'll go ride other spots. And then when the housing market crashed in 2008,
Mm-hmm.
we were actually able to afford uh, our dream house that we're in right now. So we got this in 2011, kind of when the market was at the bottom, and um, so it's cool little log cabin, and we have an acre backyard, and so we've got the area closest to the house is kind of nice yard, and we've got the big garden area and the chickens and everything. So she's totally happy with that stuff, and uh, totally loves having the backyard. It is just cool, so she's
I have
totally
to
on board.
I have to ask for all the husbands and men out there, what did you say for advice? What did you say to your wife to get her to agree to allow you to dig up the backyard?
I mean, honestly, it was. I think I talked about it a lot for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So maybe part of it was, will you shut up about it if we get it? That
So
might be part of it. I don't know,
okay,
but
patience.
another part of it was, we had when we moved in here. Let's see. Milo was born, and we were pregnant with Owen, and at that point to go dirt jumping, and this is when I was still competing in slope style and had to be kind of at the highest level I could ride at for jumping. And so I was driving down to Salt Lake City, which was 30-40 minutes to get to any of the spots with the big jumps down there that I would be training on.
Yeah.
And so if I built backyard jumps, I could just go out and ride in the backyard. So that's a lot of time, a lot less trips down to the city and to other spots. I can accomplish what I need to and be home more. So that's another good selling point as well.
Yeah.
And she loves riding the pump track too. She's
There you go.
not hitting jumps like that. She's definitely ridden a bunch of bike park, a lot more before kids. But she's been to Whistler, and we lived at Mountain Creek for a year actually before moving to Utah.
Yeah.
And so she'd go up and ride the bike park there at Diablo all the time, and she's a mountain biker too, so
That helps.
she's into it. Yeah,
That's
it
awesome.
helps a lot. But I would say that would be the number one selling point would be, I'm going to be home more, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to have the family together more, and creates cool opportunities for everyone with kids knows that they get cooped up and crazy when they're in the house for too long.
Yeah.
And so if you can just throw them out in the backyard and say, go have fun in the dirt, that's,
Well,
pretty good option.
hopefully mine's not listening and I can use these excuses and she'll be like, yeah, go ahead. Let's do that. That's a good idea. Perfect. Okay. Dad MTB is asking, since he says my son and I are doing an epic father-son trip this spring and summer, but nothing's concrete yet. If you had 1 month to travel and ride, where would you go? I'm sure you've had a month to travel and ride before. So where would you go if you had a month?
Let's see. It sounds like that month is March, right? For them, their window.
He says spring, summer. So yes.
Spring, summer. Okay, so if we're talking spring, you got to go somewhere that's a little bit warmer. And I would say nothing beats the Southwest. So I'm not sure where you live, but if you had to say, even if a week in Moab and a week in Sedona, and then and a week in St. George too. I mean, if you're looking at a month with it, between Moab, St. George area, and Sedona, you're going to get so much amazing riding. You still won't come even close to riding everything they've got. And for the days off when you're not mountain biking, there's the most incredible hiking and just kind of general outdoor adventures and seeing the national parks. And I mean, with that trip, you can see Grand Canyon, you can see all the Sedona stuff, you can see Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon, ride Thunder Mountain Trail. Like, there's so many good things that you can do there. And then, I mean, summer, it's hard to beat Canada, BC, or the Northwest even, like between Oregon and Washington. You could easily spend a month there in the Northwest.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of awesome spots in that zone that are just incredible in the summer. And then if you make it up to BC, if the borders are open, and again, I'm not sure where you live, but yeah, BC is incredible. I mean, obviously you've got Whistler, but then you've got the Vancouver area also, and then you can go interior BC and hit Kamloops and all those really cool spots too, and huge mountains. And then let's see, Northeast, you could spend a ton of time up there too. There's more bike parks there than ever. Highland Bike Park, I've been a fan of that forever. It's an old ski resort that is bike park only now. And so you've got Highland, you've got Thunder, Mountain Creek. I don't even know. There's so many bike parks in the Northeast now.
Yeah.
In the Southeast too. Like, it's mountain biking is such an awesome spot now.
Yeah.
If you did a Southeast trip, you've got all the Asheville and Knoxville and kind of those are just the big ones. But Anniston, Alabama is super fun.
Yeah, I just rode there this past weekend. Had a race there.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you put a video out from that. Yeah, there's go see Wig at Wig's Wheels if you go to Anniston. That guy's the man.
Did I just meet? I think I met Wig.
You probably did. He was probably a part of the race, and
I'm pretty sure
awesome.
I did. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But, well, you've been. Is there any place that you haven't? Oh, you said Florida, but that I'm not going to count that against you. Is there any big mountain bike place that you have not gone yet that you desire to go to?
Yeah, there's a few. Kamloops. Every time I say I haven't been there, everyone looks at me like I'm crazy, because so that's up in Canada. That's like Matt Hunter's zone. It's kind of in the rain shadow, so it's a little bit drier up there, and just incredible free ride and jumps and trails. That zone is really cool, but I haven't been. Where else? I haven't been to Revelstoke. I really want to go there. I have a lot more exploring to do in BC, that's for sure.
You could ride a different place every day for a year and not hit it all up in that area.
Yeah, I really want to go to Duluth also. I've heard a lot about Duluth, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Haven't been there yet. Um, yeah, I'd love to explore Texas more too. I do want to explore Florida. I like the spots that are lesser known, but
Yeah.
they've always got awesome crews of people that love what they do and build cool stuff. And they're just, when you go there, everyone's so excited
Yeah.
to show everybody around, and
Yeah.
they're just excited someone's coming to check out their stuff. And everyone's building cool, fun stuff. It's mountain biking's in a good spot right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome, and people are taking something that you would think is nothing and make it into something immaculate. It's amazing, especially down here in Florida. Octodad. I don't know if they're He's related. Oh, Octodad's been on my show a lot. Related to Octomom. How many chickens do you have, and how many eggs per day? You see, I'll relate to this one because my in-laws have, what do they have? 18 chickens. So we have fresh eggs every single day, and I haven't bought a store-bought egg in years. How many eggs do you? How many chickens do you have?
So we started out with 6 chickens.
Yeah.
5 of them were eaten by raccoons last
Yep.
year.
Yep.
That was a big bummer.
Uh-huh.
We got eggs this year. We're back to 5 chickens now. We decided 6 was a little much, and we ended up picking up 4 little chicks this year. So we got 5 chickens now, and through most of the year, we're getting 5 eggs a day.
Yeah, that's good.
They just started laying in the fall, really, kind of late summer, early fall, the new ones, and then Colonel Sanders is still laying eggs as well. And they've stopped right now though. For the most part, we'll get like 3 a week right now, but that's kind of the natural cycle of chickens when there's.
Yep.
I think it's related to for here. It's probably the cold for one thing, is they use energy to stay warm, and then it's also tied to how much daylight there is, I guess.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I had my own chickens back in Oklahoma, and it's I don't know what your neighborhood area is, but I'd have a chicken escape my backyard, and I didn't know it until I heard the next door neighbor's kids screaming, and I automatically knew, oh, little Red's gotten out. I'd walk over, and she'd just sit there and look down, and I'd grab her and pick her up and bring her over, and little kids be like, was that a real chicken? What just happened? He just walked over and picked a chicken up. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, we had no, it's totally normal here. Everyone's got gardens and horses, and we had I think 2 years ago we had a few goats in the yard that got out from a neighbor's.
Yeah, we got goats too.
Nice. Yeah, we get deer in the yard all the time, and kind of bit of everything. Yeah, we're more of a rural area, just outside of Park City, and there's wild animals, farm animals, all kinds of stuff.
That's awesome. Do you see yourself building your is there more builds in your backyard in the future, or are you pretty much, have you filled that whole thing up?
No, there's we have a bunch of ideas actually, besides even just changing things up, but we're gonna completely redo the water slide setup for next year. And so I'm really looking forward to that. So my neighbor to the left had a pump track before I did, actually.
Really?
And we always thought we should connect these pump tracks, and we never did, because we didn't want to just tear down a fence and do it the easy way. We figured, you know what, the right way is going to present itself. And so when my friend Matt Behringer, who's the pro BMXer that I got those slides from, he had to downsize his yard and get rid of some of his slides. When those showed up, we set those up, connecting my pump track with his pump track over the fence, actually by water slide. And his pump track now is turned into like more of a 50 track, and we just realized that we're not using it that much for what it is. So we're going to reposition the water slides and have a whole new setup there so that they work really, really well just in our yard. And then there's a bunch of stuff I want to do. I want to build a hitching post, want to build some wall rides, things like that. I'd like to build, I didn't even get to it this year, but there's always a lot of questions about, didn't you trade your dirt jump bike to Seth for his trials bike? And the answer is I did, and then I built up a new dirt jump bike, so that's how we both have them. But I have his inspired trials bike, so like the Danny McCaskill Fabio
Uh-huh.
Wimmer inspired trials bike, and so I want to build some trials stuff too, and we are going to get into it next year. I just ran out of time.
Yeah, that's normally what happens. I mean, trying to
Yep.
get you on the show, I got pink bike, I got this, I got that. Yeah, no, it happens. I understand. But that's crazy. You moved right next to a guy with a pump track. How lucky was that? Did
That
you?
was, so it's Doug Dalton. He worked for Cannondale through
Okay.
kind of their glory years.
Uh
Like
huh.
he invented a ton of stuff. Even like he had the first angle set machined actually, so that he could alter the head tube angles of. I mean, he was working on Miles Rockwell and Cedric Gracia, Missy Giovi, all of their
Wow.
bikes when they were winning world championships and
Uh huh.
stuff, and Rampage
Did you
and
know
after
you were
that,
moving it next to him?
yeah.
You
So
knew. Okay.
yeah, so then he's been with SRAM since then and doing awesome stuff there. And so we lived a couple miles away from him, and we would come over. I mean, he's one of my closest friends
Okay.
anyway,
Okay.
and so we'd come over and ride the pump track all the time. He had pump track Tuesdays, um, and then again, like we were trying to get this house we're in now for 3 years. So it just goes back to don't give up on the dreams.
Yeah.
Just be persistent, and so we were talking to the owners that did live here for years, and they'd put it on the market. We couldn't afford it, this and that, and we just ended up getting lucky and making it work. And yeah, now we're here.
That's awesome. That's
Yep.
totally cool. So what do you have any plans on? You haven't raced in a while, have you?
No, I
No.
mean, I haven't raced to try to win in a long time, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I've
No, I
done
understand.
I've done a bunch of races over the years where I'm doing them for fun, for the adventure, for the
Mhm.
story, for the experience,
Yeah.
and I will definitely do that again. I do like staying fit and fast and strong, so I ride a ton of cross country and road bikes and try to stay as strong and fast as I can be.
But you don't plan
Um,
on getting into it
I don't plan on
big
getting in
time.
it to race. No,
Yeah.
I did a
Okay.
couple enduro races. It was fun, but you have to kind of put everything into that to do
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
And then the most fun I've had is on like big adventure races. So there's one of my earlier videos was a trip to Cuba, and I got to go to Cuba to do a week-long mountain bike race, and it was such an incredible experience. And to get to see a country by riding place to place across the country on trails
Mhm.
and dirt roads and everything was awesome. And there's another one in Ecuador where you race. It's a 2-day race with you camp in the middle overnight, and you race
Yeah.
around Cotopaxi volcano.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's like stuff like that. It's experiences you're
Yeah.
not going to
Yeah.
have unless you're racing. And
Yeah.
so I definitely want to do more of those. And
That's
it's a
cool.
good way to push myself, test my limits, and kind of find out where that line is, what you can do.
That's awesome. Yeah, the
Yeah.
experience is more important than winning sometimes. That's totally cool. Now,
Yeah.
one question I've been wanting to ask you, and I'm kind of you're how tall are you? Are you 6'4"?
6'3".
6'3". Okay, I'm 6'3". And when I got into mountain biking, I was trying to figure out the right size of bike for me. So I got an extra large bike, Diamondback. I don't remember which one I got. Mason 2. Had the Mason 2. And I got the extra large. It was way too big for me. I couldn't do anything. Couldn't feel comfortable. I wasn't comfortable on it. So I sold it and got a large. And right before I purchased the large, I read an article that said you were 6'3", 6'4", something like that, but you ride larges. Is that true? You ride size larges?
Yep, I ride size large. Part of it has to do with how long your legs are versus your arm,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
just kind of
yeah.
generally fitting a bike with the reach and the seat tube
Of
length.
course.
But for me, it goes back to what I'm doing on the bike.
Hmm.
And if I'm just riding cross country or racing cross country, that sort of thing, big trail rides, an XL does fit better. It's a bigger, more stable, like opened up, stretched out bike.
Mm-hmm.
But I ride bikes to play around and jump and manual and
Yeah.
generally have fun on the downhills. And so there's always the balance of efficiency, and even when it comes down to like an enduro style bike, right? Like a 160 travel bike.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pay a little bit of a price on the way up, but you're going to have way more fun on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the same type of thing with the size large over XL.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't see myself going to an XL anytime soon for what I ride. Part of it's, your seat tube height.
Mm-hmm.
With a 19-inch seat tube, which is a size large, when I slam my seat all the way down,
mm-hmm.
it's right in between my knees, which is perfect for pinching. So if I'm going to do a no-hander or bar spin or something like that, seat's in the right place. And not only for tricks, but just from years of riding, part of controlling your bike is you can kind of, push your leg into your seat and help stabilize it, cornering, things like that. And so the seat's where I like it. If I'm on an XL, it's 2 inches higher than that, so it's kind of above my knees. And it's actually it's working out better and better as the years go on, and reach is getting a little bit longer on bikes too, as a general trend. So taller people can get away with smaller seat tube height bikes now, and have a normal, good feeling reach, but still have a playful low standover bike.
Yeah, that's the one thing I hated about the XL was the standover height was just not enough for me. And I might have a weird inseam compared to it, but reading about you having that that movability around on your bike was what really sold me on getting a large, or at least trying it. And I tried extra XLs and felt comfortable. I wanted that playfulness, and that's you answered my question. That's perfect. That's awesome.
And even on like dirt jump bikes, like Seth and I are on the same size dirt jump bike, and we both love it. So when it comes to jumping and that sort of thing, you don't need a really long reach and all of this stuff.
But you raced you raced on a large too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, I think we've gotten all the questions down. Do you have? I like to close out the podcast with sayings. I have a saying that I close everything out with, all my videos out. Do you have a saying that you close your videos out every single time? Do you have one? Do we need to make one for Eric Porter?
Yeah, I actually don't have one.
I'm seeing that more and more now.
I got a great quote though, and it's from Double D, Doug Dalton. I always give him credit because he's the person that I heard it from, and it's be careful what you're good at, and it's kind of like, because if you're good at it, you're probably going to be successful at it, and you're going to be doing it longer. Yeah. And so if you're good at Rampage, you better be ready to jump the biggest stuff ever for a while. And he said it to me with YouTube. Same thing, be careful what you're good at. And I knew what that meant. That means I'm going to be, up all night editing and that sort of thing. But, the reward's always there if you put in the work. So that's awesome. Another one. Sage Kotzenberg, pro snowboarder, Olympic gold medalist. He says you get out what you put in. And I'm a strong believer in that as well.
I agree with that.
That's whatever you're going to do it. Go all in on it, and you get out what you put into something. So
you're the first person to say a favorite quote instead of saying a ending thing. And I think I'm going to switch it up. I always ask that question. I'm gonna switch up. What's your favorite quote at the end of everything? Well, dude, Eric Porter, I thank you so much for coming on my podcast on Jeremy's Pedal Power Hour. It was awesome. It goes by super fast, doesn't it? It's just an hour. Yeah. It's just an hour. We're having fun. I thank you, everybody, for hopping on and asking questions and getting to know Eric. Make sure you go and check out his channel. It's youtube.com/ Porter MTB. If you don't know his channel, go check him out. Search him up on Pink Bike. He's all out there. He's famous. So get out there, check him out. Like I say every single time, guys, make sure you lift up God, lift up life, lift up the adventure. Get out there, make your own adventures. Check out Eric Porter. And I'll see you guys. You guys have a fantastic and Merry Christmas. You have a Merry Christmas, Mr. Porter. Love on your family. And I'll see you guys on the next Jeremy's Pedal Power Hour. God bless.